All right, I might have to start doing an intro for these videos. I see we have 500 views, and I'm going to guess we have 40, I don't know how many people we have in our alliance, but I'm going to say the likelihood of even 30 of them watching this video means that we're getting a little bit bigger of an audience than just our alliance. So maybe I'll have to do a cool intro one of these days, but really I'm not planning on making any money from this stuff, just trying to help my server out. Starting with that, if you don't have your retirement taken care of, don't spend a dime on this game. It's not worth it. We're all going to quit someday. We're never going to talk to each other again in 10 years. Who knows? All the money spent on this game is just donated. So take care of your retirement before you even consider spending on this game. Today we're going to do battle mechanics, and most of it's going to be from this guy's video. This is a video here, The Art of War, basic battle mechanics. This is the Miser's Guide to Evony. I took a picture of his YouTube channel here. Here we go. Look him up. Find him on YouTube. He's got like 385 videos out. Maybe not all of them are relevant, but he's got some really good stuff. Now, I don't think he's perfect on everything, but neither are a lot of the guys on YouTube. So I'm kind of just stealing their information, trying to give them credit, stealing it, and putting it into a quicker package just for the more relevant stuff. This is John Wick on Evony. He's pretty good. Every YouTuber is a little different. I try to deal with YouTubers that are fun and fun to listen to, easy to listen to. This Derrick Defies guy, I would not say he's entertaining. He talks a little slower because he's trying to explain math to everybody, but his stuff is really good. I will be using a lot of his information. Red Evony, he's fun to listen to. He sounds like Evil Wolf in our alliance. He's got a good voice, a little generic. So if you're a little green on something, he'll explain it to you in layman's terms. Genghis, I would say he's not an expert, but he's really good at keeping your attention, keeping you entertained, and he does give you some information that's usable. So these are the YouTubers that I will use. But let's get on to our show here. First, we're going to talk about range and the speed of troops and why we're doing what we're doing on our wall and our wall general. With my wall general, you know that I'm using a lot of flats for the HP and the defense. We've talked that to death. I don't have the best refines everywhere. If you look at my weapon in the ring, I have a little bit of siege attack in there, and it's still flat. In a perfect world, my ring is almost all mounted attack, and there's still some siege in there. When I was spinning, I would get some yellow, whatever you want to call those refines, top-notch refines. My siege does a lot of attacking for me, a lot of killing for me, I should say, as a wall general. So I don't mind killing off more with my siege. My mounted attack will get to the guts of the battle quicker, and we're going to explain that in this video a little further on. But should we do a little quick sneak peek at a battle report? Here, this guy hits pretty hard. I don't even know how to pronounce this Rose guy's name, but he sent ground at me on this one. I took some damage, but I am fine losing troops in order to win the power exchange, 4-1 like this. Obviously, it's expensive to recover time and time again, but doesn't really bother me because I'm not spending on high tiers. I have plenty of resources and speeds to recover. So we're going to go into the battle details. Let's just look at my troops. My ground got wiped out, which some of you might not understand why my ground didn't survive and my range didn't get touched. But there's a reason for that. I mean, you can see right here, my T-13s, I only had 700,000 of them, and none of them died. And he sent a shitload of ground at me. Pardon my language. Why does that doesn't make sense? Because ground kills range, right? We've all been taught that range kills mounted, mounted kills ground, and ground kills range. And that's a triangle. And siege, where they fit in, is siege will target siege. Unless they're dead, then they're going to kill the next closest thing within range. So we'll explain that when we get into the battle mechanics a little bit, but I just wanted you to look at just my siege. So I'm going to go ahead and put my siege at the top. I don't have a lot of T-13 because they're so easy to kill when somebody siege bombs me. I don't want to give them that power. But you can see they killed off a chunk just for that small amount of T-13. Look at the T-12. They chipped away another 22,000. So you can see all the way down, there's 14,000 from my T-11. Even my T-10s are killing, my T-9s. So you can kind of see a theme here. My siege is a great protection. They stand behind the battle. They don't get touched unless it's a siege bomb. They don't get touched, but it does a decent amount of killing. So by the time my mounted troops, we'll scroll all the way down. The mounted troops right here obviously took a big chunk out of their battle, and I didn't even lose as many T1s as his march size was. So you can kind of see what's going on there. Look at how few these T1 siege do. It's just their range from T1 to T4 is really short, so they don't get to reach the battle much. And I didn't lose any, but it just doesn't pay to build siege up to until you get to T5. That's about where they can start to pay off. Reason being, if they send a good siege bomb at you, they're going to kill your big siege and then your baby siege before you even get to fight back. So it really doesn't pay to build any of those lower siege. Right here, you'll see at the top of the screen, you'll see the T2 mounted troops. It's kind of like my meat shield there. Not many died, not many killed, but you will see that the big one down here did take a big chunk of it. All right, so that's why I have some siege attack on my wall general. You guys have been pointing it out to me. Yeah, I would like mounted troop attack. That's why I have the siege attack on there. I had to cut myself off. I was blabbering and just restarted recording right here. I could definitely upgrade this weapon, get some yellow mounted on there, and I'll go for that soon. I usually chew away all my gold on that really quickly. And the other reason why I kind of mentioned why my refines weren't that great, for those that you don't know, if you have something that is Civ gear, if you spin and get all gold refines, it'll allow you to do the advanced refining. And that means like you could have subordinate city training. It doesn't matter what the gold are. Once you get 4 gold, you can then refine and then spin again. So my refining is open on this gear, even though it's not all currently gold. It was all gold. So all my refines had to reset on most of my gear. And what that advanced refining is, real quickly, you go over to here. This is my curio set. That's bourbon. Curio set. So you can see I've already added 14% ground attack by refining. And simply you just have to do 50 refining stones a spin times 50. I wish it was just you could do times 50. I don't know why you have to sit here and tap every day. It does count towards the advanced refining event, which is pretty nice. You get some kickbacks from it. So that's that. Now we're going to talk about the range and speed of your troops. I wish range weren't called range. They should be called archers. So I'm not talking archers. I'm talking about distance when I say range, how far they can shoot or attack. So we're going to look at mounted. So here's my T1 layer. Let's take a look at their stats. We already looked at their defense and attack and how your wall general helps with that. Now we're simply looking at the range and the speed. So he can kill within 50 units of himself, but his speed is 60. So he can't kill very far, but he can attack and move forward quickly. Now you're going to notice as you go all the way up, didn't want that. The speed and range are the same as the previous two troops. So with range, with archers, mounted, and ground troops, they all stay consistent throughout their entire tiers. So if you have a range unit, an archer unit, what are we at here? We'll go down further. It's the T4. We got 500 range. So you notice right there that they can kill from a lot further away, which obviously makes sense. They don't move very fast, though. They got 100. Now we're going to go all the way up to the top tiers here. And you're going to see, again, 500 range, but they only move at 100 units per turn. They move that fast. So those are all the same. Take my word for it for the ground. However, the siege are different. So you noticed earlier I mentioned up to T4 siege, their range is 1,400. And their speed is 75. I believe the speed will stay the same for all the siege. It's just their distance or range that changes per unit. And that's not a very old update. I think they changed this, maybe it was 8 months ago. It used to be different. So it was a battle mechanic that Evony made an adjustment to. So once you get up to T4, up to T8, the range is 1556. But the attack does go up, obviously, right? So why would you build a T5 if you can build a T8 for the same distance and more attack, right? So I would rather have more T8s than T5s, but I still try to have at least 1 million at every layer. Obviously, I'm not building the way I told you to because I got 3,000 or 3 million of the T4 or the T5. So once we get up to T9, the range is going to go up to 1711, and that'll stay. I think that's only T10. And then once you get to T11, I think everything changes. Yep. Now you got your longer range. You don't have as much attack as a T12 or a T13, but you get the range. So most people will do T11 as not just their meat shield, but when you're sending a siege bomb at somebody else, I can send siege tier 11, and I can kill your 14, 13, 12s, and 11s with a cheaper siege. So that's why even though you see these big guys that got T15, T14, often they don't send those unless the battle really calls for it. If somebody's really top heavy siege, they will go ahead and knock out those siege with a T14, and then they'll follow up with a T11, and now I can come in with ground and mounted and range and rallies. This is end game stuff, not really what we're doing. So now that you know what these units do, I'm going to show you some of the Miser's illustrations. So we're going to go in here. All right. So this is his diagram. Credit to the Miser's Guide to Evony. Watch his stuff. But basically what this diagram shows is their range. You can see the siege can shoot much further than the archers underneath them. And then the mounted and the ground troop can't kill anything unless they're real close to them. But from the bottom up, well, not necessarily. The horses are second from the bottom up, are the fastest, then the ground, then the range, and then the siege as far as speed goes. So his illustration, like I said, it isn't perfect. I don't agree with everything he shows, but we're going to go with it because it's the best one I could find. Notice there's no wall in the middle. Everybody talks about their wall. The other thing that you're not going to see on this illustration are 13 to 15 layers of troops. So for every siege, there's 13 different groups of siege that have to fight, and the other troops have to fight those layers. But there is no wall. I really don't know where the wall comes into effect. It has HP. I've heard some people say that it more has to do with force porting than who wins the battle. I'm not really sure how that all goes, but there should be an additional layer on the defender side. You have an archer tower. I'm just going to guess my archer tower is like 50 million power. That's a pretty decent layer of troops if you got a 50 million power layer there. Also, with that archer tower, we discussed they focused mounted troops first. So when you're building traps, I showed you that I'm building the Abatis traps. I got that from Derrick Defies. It was his idea, but I'm trying to see if it really works, because your mounted troops their mounted troops are going to get thinned out by your archer tower. Then I'm hoping my traps will have enough power to take out a couple layers. That would be a huge advantage if you can knock out a layer or two of just their 1,000 mounted troops down near their T1 to T5s. So this is how the battle starts. Some people I tend to think that it doesn't start like this. I feel like the mounted troops start together. Reason being, in this illustration, the mounted troops and the ground troops would be getting killed way before they even got to start fighting. I believe like the distance you start apart is how far the range is. So I would show the mounted troops and the ground troops touching each other to start the battle, and then whatever the range and the siege can attack, they would from that distance back. But here he's got them moving up closer. So you can see that this is a couple turns into the battle. According to his illustration, the first turn, the mounted and the ground wouldn't even start fighting yet, but the range would be chipping away at them. But all I really want you to know is that just because ground kills range, it doesn't mean it's the first thing they fight. So it's very important for you to have a good, beefy ground game going. And I'm not saying a lot of volume. I don't want you to build 3 million T-14 ground, because you're just going to be lapped up by these guys that are going to kill all your higher troops. I think I had 300,000 ground, right? That's a big chunk for them to chew through. They're basically tanks. You saw their HP. Their HP is 60,000 plus another 20,000 defense. That's a lot of hits they're going to absorb. So I just want you to be able to see how the battle mechanics happen. Now you can kind of see why my range didn't die when he sent a very impressive ground attack at me. My mounted and my ground are just going to hold him back while the siege and the range take shots at him. Now, as the battle even advances further, you can see here in this illustration that he knocked out my siege, or I knocked out his siege, if you want to look at it that way. Say I'm defending on the right. We already got rid of his siege, and we're soon to get rid of his range because the siege is just taking him out with the siege not even being able to take a hit from anything yet. So this is a little more advanced into the battle. Now that we knocked out his ground and his mounted, you can see the ground and the mounted are just going to kill his range. I might lose some range. I'm not going to lose any siege. So that's basically the thought process I want you to have when the battle comes together. The ground and the mounted are coming together quickly. Your mounted troop T1 layer can kill a lot of stuff pretty quickly. We get it in there. You got all the layers that everybody has to fight. Really spreads out the battle. Now if somebody throws in some reinforcements, I can spread out those layers significantly. So it really does make a big deal. So I think I'm going to end on that for today's video. No, I lied. One other thing I want to tell you. This comes from Derrick Defies as well. If you have a layer, let's say you have let's make up a number, 1 million ground troops. If I send that 1 million ground troops into battle and you kill off 3/4 of them, 750,000 troops, all I have left are 250,000 troops, I get to counterattack, and all the dead troops get to counterattack too because they were involved in that battle. So even though the attacker gets the first move, if he doesn't kill all of that tier gets to fight back. So that's another important thing to why you would want to have big enough layers to survive the first attack. All right, we'll leave it for that for today. Tomorrow we'll have to come up with something else. Please let me know in the comments if there's something else you want me to touch on or something that doesn't make sense, or if you think I'm an idiot and you think it works a different way. Let me know. Thanks.